Hello and thank you for staying with Metropole TV. Thank you for watching Game Changers, a tech service show whose aim is to bring you and me up to speed on trending and emerging technologies that are adaptable in and out of our daily interactions. Now, we shall be looking into cybersecurity awareness. What does it mean? And joining me to understand this much better, we have Mr. LWALA, Group Leader, User Awareness and Training from KCSFA, that is Kenya Cybersecurity and Forensics Association. Welcome to our studios, Mr. Allan.
Thank you.
Okay, now let's begin by understanding, or rather having a general awareness on what KCSFA does.
So KCSFA is the Kenya Cybersecurity and Forensics Association, and basically we are a consortium of professionals in the field of cybersecurity. So this ranges all the way from legal, law enforcement, technical, non-technical, management, board, and so on and so forth. And we bring our minds together so that we can chart the way forward for cybersecurity and digital forensics in Kenya and beyond Kenya.
Yeah. And now when you say that October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, what are we talking about? Or rather, what do we mean by this awareness? What is it all about?
So October is usually the Global Cybersecurity Awareness Month, where we try and disseminate as much information as possible to the common mwananchi about the things that might be affecting them with regards to cybersecurity. So this year, the theme has been Own It, Secure It, and Protect It. So what I mean is own it when on social media, when, for example, you're online, when you click, you don't click and tell. In other words, don't put your password and tell someone what the password is. We see in places where people share passwords, or you have your passwords written down on a small piece of paper that people can see it, which is not right. Second thing is there are things that come, especially when you're signing on to maybe your Google, you're signing on to Facebook, you have the privacy. How many people read what those things say? And yet a few years later down the line, it comes up that your photo was used for some Facebook campaign, and start wondering why. It is because part of the Facebook privacy is that they waive your privacy and they're able to use your photos and so on and so forth for their own benefit. Apart from that is you should also keep tabs on your applications. So what are your applications accessing on your phone? There was a case some time back of an application, a ride-sharing application, which is able to get your location even when you've stopped using the ride-share application, which is a privacy concern. Why do they need my data, and yet I'm not longer using the app? So for security, it means having, for example, for your accounts, have strong passphrases. We talk about passwords. So a password is just a word, but a passphrase includes different characters. You have your capital letters, you have your small letters, you have your characters, which are maybe special characters, asterisks and hash, and then you have your numerical numbers. Apart from that, nowadays it's advised that use a long password, because there are attacks called brute force attacks. So if somebody uses a dictionary attack, they use words in English that you might not know. They'll use words in Swahili because we're in a Kenya country where we speak Swahili. But if you have a long phrase, even at times include spaces, it makes them even difficult for them to know. Then there's the use of multi-factor authentication. You realize that recently the CEO of Twitter's account was breached. And this is because they're not using multi-factor authentication. So after that, then they started enforcing that people should start using multi-factor authentication. This is because it is more difficult to crack the multi-factor authentication than it is when you just have a simple password or a passphrase. Then while you're shopping online, you should shop safe. For example, don't use your debit card. Instead, get a credit card. If you're shopping for, let's say, $1,000, load the credit card with $1,000 and maybe a few
cents
on top. Just in case it needs to validate or maybe the charges and so on and so forth. Instead of linking it directly to your debit card, which goes to your account. If someone has access to your credit card details, then they can get, debit card details, they can get to your account and steal money from your account. Apart from that, you also don't share your credit card details online. We see people flashing their cards, and it shows your card number, and at the back it usually has the CVV number, which uniquely identifies your card to a specific service.
Wow.
So while people are sharing this, they might be doing it without knowing, but they're giving a lot of information about themselves to people, and they might be used without them knowing that they're being used. And finally is play hard to get with strangers. We go online, we put all our information there. We put, for example, I told people that I'm coming to TV today, so everybody knows I'll be here. So if someone needs to go to my house, this is the best time to go to my house. But on the cyber world, there's a lot of information that people can get from your online profile that they can use. It's called open source intelligence, in that I can scrape a lot of information about you just by me knowing your name, and that's maybe even just your name. I can go onto your LinkedIn profile. I know where you work. I can go on Facebook. I know where you were over the weekend. So if I was to orchestrate something, I'll use something that is very close to you. So maybe give you a call and tell you, you were at Masai Mara over the weekend. You forgot this and this and this. And please call this number for them to sort you out. Maybe that number is now rotated somewhere else. And that's the attacker who's trying to get more information about you. Or maybe they can ask, where can we deliver this? So by you giving them that information, you are making their life much easier.
To attack you.
Yes. Then finally, we have these things that Ponzi schemes. You've had nowadays a lot of Ponzi schemes. While I was coming in today, there was one that was talking about M-Pesa. You send this money, 1,500 to a certain M-Pesa number, and then it will grow within 5 days. And most people
get rich, what
rich
is
quick
it?
scams.
Rich quick.
Yes, get
schemes,
rich. Yes. And they've started a new rise. So initially there was this get clicks where you send a link, then it gives you a unique link that is linked to your name, and then someone clicks on it. So the more people you get, apparently the more money you receive.
But do those things really work?
Well, they don't.
They don't?
They don't. They're just there to manipulate, because attackers have learned that the weakest link is the human link. So what do? They try to pry on a human emotion. So this emotion can be happiness, can be anger. Right now there's a huge rate of poverty, so they'll use the money thing. So now that SportPesa is done, betting is done, they look for something that will seem enticing to the common mwananchi, and they'll use that. So people are no longer going to bet, but they have a few coins here and there. So if I tell you, if you give me 500 shillings and share this link with 5 WhatsApp groups, then you'll get 1,500 shillings. So people will do it. They'll give me the money, then they won't get the 1,500 because because those are ways in which guys are playing with others. Then for the final one is protect it. So if you connect to a Wi-Fi, we have hotels where you get free Wi-Fi at the airport and so on and so forth. But are you sure that you're connecting to the right Wi-Fi network? Because some of the people called white hat hackers at times go in, create fake Wi-Fi names. So for example, at Metropole TV, you have Metropole maybe Wi-Fi. So I'll create Metropole TV Wi-Fi, which is my own Wi-Fi network. Then people will connect to my own Wi-Fi network.
And of course, they don't have passwords.
Most of the time they don't. It's an open network, because again, we being human beings, we like free things. In cybersecurity, we say if anything is free, then you're the commodity. So they are getting your information, and they might use it to do anything else that they'd like to do. So when this happens, they're able to collect a lot of information. Just by you connecting to my Wi-Fi, I'm able to get a lot of information on whichever device, be it your mobile phone, be it your laptop, be it your tablet, and so on and so forth. And this information, maybe this is the same laptop that you use at work. So I can install a malware that as soon as you get to work, now it does havoc on the office network. So a malware can be anything. There are different types of malware. So basically, as the name suggests, it's malicious software. It does a lot of things. It can be as simple as just scrolling your phone book, or as bad as making your phone or whatever device unusable.
Now, Allan, you've said own it, secure it, protect it. Now, someone has stolen all my information through whatever means they have used here. Now, but how do I identify or get to realize or know that my data has been stolen, or rather my phone has been hacked, my laptop has been hacked? How do I get to know this?
There are different ways. So
Yeah.
it depends on where and how. Like for example, if it's your phone, you'll realize that your phone at times is very slow. It starts overheating, or so whenever you try to open an application, it fails. It might be because the applications that are running on your phone either are not the legitimate applications. At times you hear guys downloading this funny WhatsApp. There's the normal WhatsApp. Then you have WhatsApp GB, you have WhatsApp, blah, 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 blah. You don't know who's developed that application. You don't know those extra features that you're getting, they might also be doing something else. So it's very difficult most of the time to detect, unless you have highly sophisticated tools. On your phone, you can install this antivirus. You have very many antivirus, not free ones. Anything that is free, you're the commodity. But you have the paid up antiviruses where they scan your phone and they're able to tell you if there's anything malicious that's running, if it's an application. At times, actually, as recent as this morning, we've found a bug that is able to exploit a photo. So I can send you a photo on WhatsApp, but it has a bug in it, and it's able to manipulate some of the way the phone operates. So you'd find that someone is able to turn on your microphone. Someone is able to turn on your camera. You remember there's a time back when Mark Zuckerberg, he uploaded a photo of himself and he'd taped over his video. And this was because of privacy concerns. So imagine if Mark Zuckerberg is afraid of his privacy, then who are you?
Exactly.
So in corporate spaces, we have different tools in which they use to detect the attack. Attacks are usually in different stages. So it depends at which stage of the attack it is. Take an example, there are those malwares that all they do is just to scan the network and to get information, which are very hard to detect because most people would think an attack is when something is coming in or going out. But when something's happening within the network, they believe that whatever's happening within the network is allowed. What if it's a malware that is scanning your network? That's how, for example, ransomware works. It scans the network, finds which is the most valuable data, and then now they start encrypting that data and requesting for a payment in money. Another way you can detect this is even you're able to tell when something is going wrong. There's just an intuition.
I remember last week we were having how to keep our mobile phones secure, and that whatever you've mentioned was among them, like your phone overheating, and you also looked into how we can go about them. Like I remember the guy from Brian Moore from Centum Investments and Tribus and Centum Investments, he rather advised that if you notice that your phone is overheating, slow, just restart it.
Not restart, but refresh. Actually,
refresh.
And
then go to settings.
Yes.
The original settings.
So that's it's called a factory refresh.
Yes, factory settings.
Yes. So ideally, it means cleaning the phone completely.
Yeah.
But that's one way. Nowadays, attackers have known that. So they install something called a rootkit or a bootkit. So even when you restore back to factory settings, it's still running in the background. So again, that's the reason why you need to install reliable antivirus malware.
And can I get these antivirus from maybe Google?
Yes,
Google, that is
the Play Store.
From the Play Store?
Yes, so the Play Store, the Apple App Store. And
but
the
I'll
major
still have
stores.
to pay for it.
Yes. The reason why is you find most of the free ones based off what we call open source software. Open source software is not bad, but everybody, or rather many people, have access to the code. So they can manipulate the code to run whatever they want it to run. With the paid software, you have, I'd say, sort of security in that you already know who is developing this software. Whenever it has a flaw, then they update. But with the free ones, most of the time, they hardly update because they are actually making money off them not updating.
All right, so now to sum up all of this, maybe you can just summarize the current trends and challenges that we are facing.
Okay, so I'll break this down into three. So one would be corporate. So in the corporate space, the largest issue for the past couple of years has been ransomware. This is a kind of malware that comes into the network either by a phishing email. A phishing email would be an email that looks very legitimate. Yeah. Take an example. We knew that we're going to have this interview this afternoon. So you get an email from ALLAN saying that I am confirming that I'll be there for the interview at 4:15. Click on this link to, why do you have to click a link from me, yet you knew that you were going to have the event? So most likely it might be someone who has access to my email address and sends you that. And by you clicking on it, then you get infected. So this malware will spread within the network. It will infect whatever is connected, and it will encrypt all your files. So by it encrypting the files, you're not able to use these files, and it will ask for a ransom. Funny story. So a few years back, someone was creating a ransomware, and instead of asking for a ransom payment, they created a small game. So you needed to play the game and get to a certain level. So if you don't play the game and don't get to a certain level, then all your data is lost. If you turn off your machine before starting playing the game, your data is lost. So as he was doing it, he was testing the malware, he infected himself, and he was unable to reach the level. So that was a small, but then you see, it's a huge challenge, because even the tools that are there right now, very few of them are able to detect ransomware. Now, the second one would be at home. Most of us have maybe Wi-Fi at home. You get your Wi-Fi from your provider. And right now I'm seeing Safaricom are doing something where if you pay slightly extra, they add more security onto your connection. But as we being Kenyans, we don't want to pay extra. Why should I pay extra for security that I can't see? A lot of
people are breathing.
Exactly. Security that I can't see. So what is this security? People keep talking about security. Then tomorrow, someone is calling Safaricom, tell them that someone is on my Wi-Fi doing this and this and this. Or even worse, we're moving to a place where we're going to have Internet of Things. At work, we're going to have Enterprise of Things. And this means that all your devices will be connected to the internet, and they'll be communicating with each other. So we're moving to a place where we'll be having more machine-to-machine communication than human-to-machine or human-to-human communication. So if someone has access to your Wi-Fi network, they can go onto your fridge and realize that you don't have milk, and they'll order milk and it will deduct from your card even without knowing. And then they'll be the ones waiting for that delivery guy to bring the milk, and they'll pick the milk.
That is so wrong.
Or there are cases where we've had people, most of this, the IP cameras, most of these cameras have microphones and speakers. So you have, at night, you're sleeping and someone is calling out your name. You wonder who's calling out my name in my house. You walk around and you find out that it was that same camera that you'd put for security purposes in your house that is talking to you. Why? Because you've not put the right security measures in place. When you get your Wi-Fi connection, the password to the router remains password 123, username, user, or admin, admin 123, password, which makes it
easy for
attackers. Then finally, look at children. Nowadays, children are going online. I think the rate at which children are growing with technology is rising, and we're finding that most of the children are more tech savvy than their parents. So, for example, a child is able to unlock your phone even without you giving them the password. So how do you protect them from such? So you're able to install applications. Recently, I realized that Google has created an app called the Family Safety App. So if you have to give a child a phone, which I don't know why you have to give a child a phone, but you have to give a child a phone, you can install the family app, and then you'll monitor everything that they're doing on that phone. So you're able to monitor their screen time, so how long have they been on this phone, which applications are running on this phone, and if they need to install anything on the phone, then you'll get an alert and you have to approve that it's installed on their phones, so that the kids are not doing anything. You can actually limit even the inbuilt applications. So most of the Android phones will come with the Google applications pre-installed, Chrome and so on and so forth. They can use Chrome to go and search porn, for example. They can use Chrome to go on betting sites. The same social media sites can be used to exploit them. You had the cases of ladies, small children who are school children, traveling all the way from Mombasa to Bungoma to go and see a man. Then nothing happens. Maybe they get lost or they get raped or something happens. Yeah? This is all because they're getting so much information on their mobile devices. And not to say that it's wrong, but then they should be limited. Let children be children. Children should always be limited on what they're doing. Whenever they are on the internet, we should have a lot of supervision on the same.
All right. Now, yes, children are the future, tomorrow's future. And I know, or rather with the understanding, parents will rather understand or know how to go about it. Now, let's look at where we are at, just generally and very briefly. Let's look at our law, data privacy and the law. Where are we at in the country right now?
So currently, Kenya doesn't have a fully fledged data privacy law. It's still being discussed. This is because there were a few things that needed to be handled before it was brought out to the public. But in other countries, we have laws. For example, the EU has the GDPR. GDPR is General Data Protection Rule. And this has guidelines on how data should be stored, how it should be accessed, and how it should be moved. So if, for example, I was a resident of the EU, I'd had some law protecting my privacy. So if I came to metropole.com.co.ke and I left my information there, you were tied by the GDPR to protect that data. So that if by any means the data gets breached or accessed outside, then you will be liable for that because you did not put the right measures in place. So currently, we are still working on the same in Kenya. We're actually part of the team that's working on the legislation, trying to fine-tune the legislation so that it fits the Kenyan environment.
Okay, and now with all that in place, understanding the challenges that you're facing and how to protect ourselves online and offline and what to do if cyber attacked. Now, let's look at how we can go about, or rather, what tools are you using to sensitize this awareness?
Tools. Now, so currently, specifically for the month of October, we've been going all out. So we've been holding barazas on the streets. Tomorrow, from tomorrow to Friday, the Communication Authority will be having a conference where it will be purely to give as much information about cybersecurity, cyber readiness, cyber awareness, digital forensics to the invited guests.
Is this something that you've been doing consistently?
Yes.
From 1st of October?
Actually, it's all year long, but we concentrate in October because October is the month designated for awareness. The Kenya Cybersecurity and Forensic Association has partnered with the Communication Authority, and what we do, we are part of the KESAT, which is the Kenya Cyber Incidents Response Team. So we help them in the research and development. We help them in sharing information across the different fields. The common mwananchi, whenever we get issues, because I told you part of our people also work in the environments. They see challenges that are facing in their industries. So in the Kenyan SAT, the Cyber Incidents Response Team, consolidates all this information, then shares it with those that don't know. Because today, they say there are two types of companies, those that are breached and those that don't know that they have been breached. Most likely, you already have been breached. But because you don't know that you've been breached, then there's no way of mitigating. So with this information, the KESAT, they'll share it with the relevant industry SATs, then they can push it down. Apart from that, we have lots of initiatives that we're running. One of them is Be the Cop. This is for Child Online Protection, COP, which gives guidelines on what to look out for to know if, one, your child is being bullied online, or they have some internet addiction, and many other things. And for the home, we try as much as possible. Like I said, we go to the streets. We've had conversations in malls where we just stand and we have guys coming in and ask, for example, do you have a password on your phone? Why do I need a password on my phone? How many passwords do you have generally? as a human being.
Yeah.
Do you use the same password 123, or your mother's name 456? Because these are things that attackers can easily find. So we try to help Kenyans to be as cyber secure as possible. And now, when it already happens, there are many things you can do. In a corporate environment, we can now do digital forensics. What I mean is that just like what you see in movies, CSI, we retrace the steps. So where did the attacker come in? What did they do? What changes they make? Where, when, and so on and so forth. So that we can easily profile and say, these are these guys who did this kind of attack. And now, with the laws in place, there can be prosecution.
And so what kind of future are we looking at?
The future is bright.
Yeah, you always very optimistic.
So the good thing is that we are getting a very, very high, I'd say, very good reception from the ground. What I mean is that we are getting invited to companies to do awareness. We've been to government entities, we've been to private organizations, we've been to small places, into cyber cafes. When you go into a cyber cafe, you log onto the PC, use your credentials, and leave without logging out. You never know who's the next person. Are they a good person or not?
And so far, has your campaign been effective?
Very, very effective. We actually now are getting a lot of feedback that it's thank God you did this, because we did not know about this. We've been able to see some things, some challenges. We only thought, actually, one of the people was saying, we only thought that the critical infrastructure is what is supposed to be protected. We forget to protect, for example, the basic things. Let me give an example. In a few years back, Sony was breached. Remember when they released the movie, The Dictator? And when they were breached, they went and did a forensic analysis. So when they found out it was not a normal attack, it was because someone breached Sony through the air conditioning. Who cares about air conditioning? Yet the air conditioning system had an IP address, which is a unique identifier on the network. But then this IP address was not being protected by any solution, because they thought, who cares about? There's nothing.
No one will even ever think of that.
Exactly. But again, an attacker is always one step ahead. So they know that these guys have protected this and this and this. They have these kinds of layers of attack, of protection, which we call the defense in depth. So you have, look at cybersecurity like physical security. There's usually a building, then around the building there's a fence. And the fence is a single point of entry and exit, which would be the gate. But at the gate, you also have a security guy with a metal detector and a dog and so on. When you come into the building, then you have the CCTV cameras, you have the access control, and so on and so forth. So cybersecurity is something similar. So we have different layers at the different places where different things are implemented at all these different places. So you have what we call the perimeter, you have the network, you have application layer, you have database, and so on and so forth.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Allan LWALA, and good job that you guys are doing. And we hope to have, or rather hold, more discussions around cybersecurity.
Definitely.
And looking at Kenya's tech space, and you working with the government, I know we are moving somewhere. We are headed somewhere.
Definitely.
All right, thank you so very much.
Thank you as well.
All right, so the conversation continues online. #GameChangers, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. Everywhere it's at Metropole TV, Kenya Metropole TV, KE. And from me, Tabitha Muthoni, and the entire team that these mid-life broadcasts are a reality or into actuality, we say thank you very much and do enjoy the rest of your viewing. Goodbye.